And welcome to another episode of National Mortgage Professionals 50 Most Connected Mortgage Pros. For Mortgage News Network, I'm your host, Rick Grant, and today's program is brought to you by Remen Wholesale. Now, today's guest, I shouldn't even need to introduce this man. If you have internet anywhere close to you, you already know him. He is the Chief Officer of Coolness and the founder of Mortgage Marketing Animals. He's also a non-producing branch manager who knows your business inside and out. It's Carl White. Carl, thanks for being with us.
Rick, it's a true honor, my man. I've been excited to be a part of what you guys are doing, man. You guys have a great following, and it's easy to see why all the great stuff you bring to your crowd, man. I've been a fan for a long time.
Well, thank you, and that comes right back at you. We've been watching you for quite some time and love what you're bringing, and we've noticed that you're using social media a lot. So tell us, why is social so important in your business?
So I think, I take a different approach than a lot of people on social media. That social media is one of the tools that we use. It's not, in my opinion, it's not to replace those activities that we use for like loan getting activities. So I'm still very much of a phone person, having lunches, teaching classes to real estate agents. Man, if you want to influence somebody, the best way you can do it is getting in front of them. However, so what we use social media for, that's how we get in front of them. That's how we get introduced. It's like, I think of, I don't know if this is an actual word, but I've always used this phrase that social media, for me anyway, at least my approach, it's nothing more than like I call it a social lubricant. And what I mean by that is I kind of think of it as like when we're going out and meeting with referral partners or consumers, I guess, I want them to say, I know you. Like, so there's no such thing as a cold call, because everybody, it's like you got a billboard that costs like almost very cheap, it's extremely cheap to do, or can be extremely cheap to do social media. And it's like you as a loan officer has a billboard that's in front of your audience, so that when you do call on them, when you do meet with them, when you do your pop buys or whatever it is that you do to get your business, that you're not a stranger. You're like, dude, I know you're like everywhere. And you go, no, man, I just spend a few minutes a day on social media. I'm just in front of your eyeballs where you spend your whole day. So that's my approach to social media. It's just more of it warms up the crowd before I call on them.
Well, I love it, Carl, because you're not asking somebody to undo everything they've done to build their business. You're not asking them to treat their marketing a different way, just adding some good tools.
Yeah, and here's the thing about social media. So I'm convinced that our culture of the American culture, we've never been closer together, but yet further apart. And like the old days of sitting around and playing cards and sitting out on front of the porch swing, so to speak, with your buddies, people just don't do that as much anymore. And instead they get on Facebook and have interaction or Instagram or whatever platform you might be using. And it's kind of like a superficial, very surface level interacting that we're doing. And I think what that's created is a golden opportunity that people are starving for, what I'm going to call real interaction, so that when we do reach out to these people, I think that's why Facebook and social media has become such a massive thing, is we don't hang out with each other anymore. And it's just a superficial way to do it. So to me, it's like it's created this incredible opportunity to get in front of people in a meaningful way. It's just warming up the crowd for your presence. So that's my take on social media.
I love it. And it sounds like an excellent reason for everybody in our industry to get on board. But we know for a fact that many of our viewers aren't there yet. So, Carl, what would be your best suggestion for helping somebody get into this social media work right away?
I would say, man, this might go against some things too, but you got to be careful, because like social media, it's a very powerful tool. It can also, it can take a lot of time. Like Rick, I don't know about you, Rick, but if I get on Facebook, with good intentions. Man, it's like 45 minutes later, I find myself on the NASCAR fan page, and I'm not really sure how I got there. It's like, well, how did I get here? And so for me, a lot of it, like the vast majority of it, can be done by somebody in my office, or they don't even need to be in my office. I'm here in the Tampa Bay area here in Florida, and I've actually got somebody in Austin, Texas, that works full time for me. You don't need to do it full time, of course, but works full time for me in the social media realm, because I know if I get on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn and start spending a lot of time in there, that I'm not out there doing my money making activity. So like one question I always like to ask loan officers is, what's the one single activity that brings in most of your loans? What one single activity? And some people might say, well, going to my closings. While that's certainly a good thing to do, I suppose, that's not what happened to bring in that loan. So it's like something happened for that loan to come in the first place, for you to close it on time, for you to go to that closing. And so we have to nail down, what is that activity for you? And Rick, the activity for me might be different from you, might be different from the person listening, but like map out your last 10 loans and what was the initial activity that brought that loan in. So then I go, like for me, I would say, and this is a very generalized statement, but let's say meeting a real estate agent, just say, there's plenty of ways, but let's just grab that one. So it's all right, cool. So now how can I use social media to make that activity happen easier, faster, and more often? And so everything I do on social media, from a loan officer standpoint, would be directed to, what can I do in social media that I have more coffee appointments faster and more often, with what we're going to say a targeted crowd of producing real estate agents or attorneys or accountants or whatever it is that you're following, so that they can refer me more deals. So that's just for me, because I find the consumer direct model, it's very challenging with social media, because it's once I close a deal with a consumer, nothing wrong with doing it, but once I close a deal consumer direct, I'm kind of done with that file. And I get it, they go in our database, and we do warm them up and keep in touch with them on social media also, but they're not going to refer me near as many deals as like a real estate agent, divorce attorney, accountants, or things like that. So it's all about staying in front of that targeted crowd, and it's never been easier, it's never been cheaper than today with social media.
I love it. We've been talking with Carl White. He's the founder of Mortgage Marketing Animals. Carl, thanks so much for being with us today.
Dude, it's an absolute honor. Appreciate what you guys are doing, and man, you're doing a good thing to the industry by bringing all these great ideas from all the different great speakers. I've seen the list of them. It's a pretty impressive list. So good for you guys, man. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you. And thanks also to our sponsor, Remen Wholesale, and all of you for watching. Until next time, for Mortgage News Network, I'm Rick Grant.